Welcome back, all you Treksters. Today, we aren't just looking at history, we're looking at a ghost. For years, the disappearance of Benjamin Sisko in 2375 was the ultimate cold case. But now, a new emissary has emerged from the Photonic realm, fighting her own survival while hunting for the truth about the man who saved the Alpha Quadrant. With only 1 week to prove her value to the Academy, the stakes have never been higher. Is Sisko a god, a guardian, or just gone? Let's engage. Oh yeah, today's title.
Today's title, Series Acclamation Mill, SAM, our acronym and our lovely little photon or our little hologram or whatever you want to call her. So the title is just simply that, SAM. Finding more out about poor little Sam. Sam I am.
Okay, all right. It's like, where do you go from there? So speaking of Sam, she faces permanent cessation if she fails. How does this pressure to demonstrate value mirror our own modern burnout culture?
Oh, okay. I empathize with Sam. And it models our modern day burnout culture because you give me an unrealistic expectation, an unrealistic timeline, and you want me to just deliver. And so I get that she's the hologram and the first of her kind, in the Federation or in really all together, right? Because she was created. And so her battle is way different than anybody else's, but I felt bad for her because it's just like, what do y'all want me to do? I can't change the mind of these organics. Like, I'm still trying to understand them. They don't understand themselves. And I don't think that they ever will. It's not that simple. And y'all are just asking me to come down here and just create world peace, basically, is the equivalent of what y'all are asking me to do. Like, no, this is an impossible task to tell us all about organics and enroll in this class. By the way, on top of everything else that I'm asking you to do, I need you to be enrolled in this class. This is the one. Why are you listening to music? What good is that going to do for us? So,
and by the way, at the end, all she did was offer her a book. How the hell did one book supposed to?
I am still very much confused.
Okay. Sam, being a photonic being, created as a servant who became sentient. How does her journey reflect the classic Star Trek theme of seeking out new life, especially when that life is one we, meaning the Federation, created ourselves?
So I think it's right on brand. It really is. Hi, John Clark. I think it's right on brand with seeking out new worlds, especially because how she processes data and all the things that's for the greater good. The only thing that really bothers me with this in particular is because she does feel. She has feelings. And so sometimes the way in which her creators approach her, I'm not a fan of. So, yeah, I do think it's right on brand, though, with Star Trek.
Well, how did her creators approach her?
Oh, you know what? Because she was created to be the servant, right? I don't think they approach her in terms of, what she would be gaining on her personal journey as she's inside of the Academy. So you sent me here to be an emissary or whatever it is because of this grand mission of trying to understand the organics, not understanding that I've developed these relationships with people. And so in trying to understand them, I've created friendships. And so they don't give a damn about none of that. They don't care.
But to me, what that did was it reminded me of the relationship that Benjamin Sisko had with the beings in the Celestial Temple. They didn't care about his relationships. They only cared that he was doing what they wanted him to do. They didn't care. They
Isn't
did
that
not
like
care.
real life, especially if you're an educator? I'm not going to name any names. No, I just need you to produce. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you lose sleep, lose weight, blood pressure high, eye popping out the socket. I need you at work. I need you to prepare these kids that are literally the bottom 2% as it pertains to intellect. And I need you to make them look like they can be pilots. And I need it done by 4 o'clock.
Stop. Stop.
Is that all?
Well,
Oh, and 75% of your class has a plan by 4 o'clock. Need it done. Thanks.
there's not much that I can say. Speaking of those who say the things that you just said. But if you were doing what I told you to do in the first place,
Listen.
Only for you at the end of the year to say, oh, I understand now why you said you wanted me to do that.
Your battle is different. Oh, child. Okay. This is not that show. But it does relate to the unrealistic expectations, and we don't care about your feelings. Just get it done.
Let's switch to something a little lighter. Is music truly the bridge between the electromagnetic and the emotional?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. All right.
Music is spiritual in nature, and so music can evoke all kinds of emotions. I can put on some heavy metal and I may want to go and spray paint or tag trains and do all kind of crazy things. And I can put on some jazz music and just vibe out and want to take a bubble bath. So it definitely evokes different types of emotions depending on the types of music you listen to. So I want to say yes to your question. It is the bridge.
Well, because the first part was electromagnetic. This is what I want to say as it relates to music. Once you start to play a musical instrument, you realize that it's a whole lot about numbers. Right, a whole note, a half note, a quarter note, all of that. Like the beat, 3/4 count, of 4 count. All of it is about music. And if you understand how music is put together, then if you are binary, meaning ones and zeros, it makes sense. Music makes sense to you. And so that's why I say, yes, it is the bridge between the electromagnetic and the emotional, because what is produced as a result of it, music makes you move your soul. All right, let's move. Bajorans rely on scripture. And, I don't know if are you familiar with the Bajorans?
No.
Okay, so Bajor was a planet outside of the Federation, but they fought in a war against the Cardassians.
And so Sisko was Bajori.
He was not Bajoran. He was human. He was human. But after the war with the Borg, I think you are familiar with the Borg. Are you familiar with the Borg? Maybe not. Okay, so after the Federation had a war with the Borg, Sisko left Earth and he went to Bajor. And what he was asked to do was basically to help Bajor become part of the Federation. While he was there, he went through the wormhole. It was the first and only stable wormhole in the galaxy. And so he went in. When he went in, he realized that they had some type of connection with him, not with the other person that was with him, but just him. and they told him that he would be he was pivotal in making Bajor whole again. Well, I'm going to cut through several seasons. Basically, he became the emissary of the prophets, and what that basically meant was he spoke for the gods of Bajor. Okay, all right. Now, told you all of that, which was a lot, right? That was like 7 seasons worth of information. So the Bajorans rely on scripture, but Sam seeks empirical evidence. Why are humans or organics so obsessed with proof over faith?
Oh, child. You can take that back to the Bible. Yes.
Basically.
So Sam, God lover, and I know I'm going to stray just a little bit and talk about one of the scenes in particular, because when her creators were like, hey, have you tried outright asking them? She's like, hey, why don't you just say that you want sex? And they're like, whoa, what? But at any rate, back to your original question. Why are humans obsessed with concrete information as opposed to faith?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say by nature, we're quizzical beings. We just have a question as opposed to blind faith. Faith isn't something that is easily arrived at. You have to work really hard at that. So in essence, that's human nature. That's normal. We need concrete evidence. Hence the reason why we're so obsessed with research. Hey, Chad.
Chad, why don't you join us? Not having watched the episode.
But yes, that's why we're obsessed with research. We need hard evidence as opposed to blind faith. It's not something that's an easy feat.
Okay. And you know what? So here's the thing. Just because you believe something or you witness something, I believe that you witnessed something, but I don't know how I can believe in your faith if I did not witness it myself.
And that goes into the context of taking advice from an authority versus experience yourself.
Right.
So I can tell you, hey, don't touch that stove. It's hot. Okay, well, it has no meaning to me if I don't understand what fire is, if I don't understand what it means to be burned. That means nothing to me. Okay, until you go over there and you touch yourself. Oh, Now I know. And I know it's a kind of elementary example, but that's the best I can come up with.
Yeah. Next question. Considering Sisko's mother was a prophet, remember she was from the Celestial Temple. Was his disappearance into the fire caves a tragedy? Remember, we're thinking biblically, right? Or a predetermined path?
Say it one more time.
Considering Sisko's mother was a prophet, was his disappearance into the fire caves a tragedy or a predetermined path?
I would say that it was his destiny. I would say it was predetermined. And of course, it may not happen in such a linear way when you have these prophecies and all of that, because things do change along the way. But
wow.
I don't think it was a tragedy at all. I think it was, predetermined.
It is so, this is the amazing thing about talking to you, because you did not watch Deep Space Nine. In fact, I remember talking to you and I was like, oh, you got to watch Deep Space Nine. In order for you to understand this, you got to watch Deep Space Nine. You're like, okay, I'm going to put it on my list.
Very long list. And then you start looking like, whoa, I'm like 90 seasons behind. It's like trying to catch up on Grey's Anatomy. Like, not going to happen.
But you used one word. You said linear. And throughout all of Deep Space Nine, whenever they were talking about the beings in the wormhole, they kept saying, you, meaning humans, are linear. We are not linear. We operate outside of time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you use that word is like every single time you're on the show, you haven't watched all these shows, but you get it, you understand in the moment, and that is what's so awesome about you. Yes, I do believe that it was a predetermined path. However, when you think about Jake, his son, and all of the friends that he made, he meaning Benjamin Sisko, along the way, it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy. So it depends on your perspective. Your perspective guides your thinking about that question, I believe. All right. Next, Starfleet listed Sisko as MIA because there was no body. Nobody was ever found. If Sam finds proof he is alive, does that destabilize Bajoran religion or strengthen it?
Ooh. So all of these eons later, I'm going to say it's going to strengthen it. It's going to strengthen it because, in essence, he was human, and he's become this deity, so to speak. So if she finds him alive all this time later, I think it would probably strengthen the religion. Or maybe there will be questions. Let me say that. There will 100% be questions. But I think it would deepen it.
Okay. All right. So in the bar, Mir gives Sam.
I love when he messes around with her sittings.
yeah. He basically intoxicated or made her drunk, right? Why do we find simulated organic behavior like Sam acting drunk or happy so fascinating or unsettling?
I find it fascinating, and simply because the way in which she is, like you say, is very just fact based. Give it to me this way, But when she gets the simulation, or he messes with her settings, and she's able to experience being intoxicated, I thought it was enriching. It was because she's a kid, a young kid in college, and some of these things, so to speak, and I shouldn't say that alcoholism is a rite of passage, but I'm going to say it anyway. These are just things that you do when you go to college. And so she may be the only one of her kind, but at the same time, now she has peers. And so rather than her just being awkward all the time, this gives her an opportunity to just be, a part of the team and it not be weird.
Yeah. Versus just looking at like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? I don't understand. Can you tell me why you're laughing right now?
Yes. Right. And or I'm reading your body chemistry, and it's saying that, please don't talk about my levels. I don't you about to blow me. Like, this just stop.
I have a question for you. In a galaxy of 4,633 sentient species, is true diplomacy even possible? Or are we always one misunderstanding away from a turf war?
One misunderstanding away from what?
A turf war.
Oh. I don't know that I would say diplomacy is not realistic. I feel like it will not be easily achieved because you have a myriad of, like you say, sentience. We feel different, we process different. We're literally from different worlds. And so I don't think it's impossible. I think it's improbable.
Okay. All right. That makes me think about the United Nations here on Earth, and how and why it is so difficult for the United Nations to be a governing body for the entire world. It's like, it is so difficult. because everyone has competing interests, and sometimes the right path is not clear because you're hearing what everyone has to say, and it's kind of like, dang, what do we do? I get it. I get it. So I have a question for you. If you were Sam, would you report everything to your makers, or would you start keeping secrets to protect your organic friends?
Hell no. Because listen, fool me once, shame on me. Okay. And I'm gonna leave it right there. In essence, her creators, these are her parents. Do you tell your parents every single experience that you have when you're off at college or at anywhere? No.
When I was 5, I ain't tell my mom everything.
So no, I think in order to have a enriching experience, and especially because her quote unquote parents, it's a whole nother level. You know, they do not care about your feelings. And so if she divulges too much information, that's not going to enrich her experience there at the academy. You know, like I said, she's making friends. You know, she's starting to understand things in a different way that they are not going to respect. So I would be 10 toes down on giving you the least amount of information possible so I can continue to have fun while I'm away at college. Y'all are not going to ruin this for me.
I get it. I get it. I think by the time I got to college, I realized I learned how to tell or to respond to my mother without giving her the information that she needed, just enough to kind of like pacify her, all of the good stuff. That was really being young was like my playground for learning how to respond without giving you the answer that you really wanted.
So learning how to manipulate early.
Right. So you had a question about Dax. Am I reading that right? Dax?
Yes.
Okay, so Dax was a character that was in Deep Space Nine. So she was standing right next to Benjamin Sisko when he got all of this information from the prophets, right? She was right there with him. She saw nothing whatsoever. She was a science officer. She was also a Trill, which meant that she had lived several lifetimes before, and she and Benjamin had a relationship prior to them both being stationed at Deep Space Nine. But she was a man at the time. This time, she was a woman. And so that was why we were able to see the Dax character. And it for me, it was amazing because we saw the Dax character in Deep Space Nine. We also saw that character in Discovery, and now we're seeing them again 800 years later in the future. So
this is what awesome. Makes me, I don't want to miss nothing. This is what makes me sad that I don't have all the prior knowledge, because it makes it even more enriching. Not that I don't enjoy these episodes, I do. Just, you know, on the one hand, because it's a fresh lens, I enjoy the episodes as they are without comparing them to the original series or things like that. So that's a bonus. But then on the other side, I'm glad I did ask the question that I asked, because now I feel like, oh wow, you know, that's important. I needed to know that because it, you know, it adds to it. So thank you.
Yes. All right. Final question. Mayfair to 10. How would you rate this particular episode?
I'm not gonna Mayfair it. Definitely not gonna do it. But for me, this episode will probably land around a 6. And so I'm not gonna go lower than that. I'm not gonna go higher than that. I'm not gonna go lower simply because I do really enjoy Sam. There were several funny moments that I enjoyed on this show, or in this particular episode. I'm not gonna go higher than a 5, higher than a 6, because there was a lot happening and then nothing all at the same time. And we mentioned this off camera. So there were things happening, but then kind of not really. And so that's why not higher than a 6. And so it just wasn't an overly exciting episode. I had no desire to cry. you know, or anything like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna say a 6. But shout out to Sam, and the lovely young lady that's playing that role. I think she is killing it, by the way.
Uh,
As an actress, she's very quirky, and it
yeah.
just works.
Yeah. You know what? It wasn't until we started recording that I was just like, you know what? I'm starting to like this episode a little bit more. And it was because I think there was a part of me that got it when I was watching it, but it wasn't one of those episodes that I watched more than once. I've only seen this episode once, right? But as we started talking about it, I realized, oh wow, her makers are just like the people in the Celestial Temple. Are the prophets. So I saw the dichotomy between her and Benjamin Sisko, and I didn't get it. Okay, she called herself an emissary. Okay, yeah, I get it. But in the context of, hey, her people just wanted her to do this one thing, just like the people in the Celestial Temple wanted Benjamin Sisko to do that one thing. Once I discovered for myself how those two things are parallel, it was like, wow, this was a really good episode. And I'm kind of mad at myself for not catching it earlier. Normally I catch those things. So before I was gonna say it was a 5. I was dead set on a 5. Only because it's Star Trek, I wasn't gonna go lower than a 5. Now, after having, like talked about it and hearing what you had to say, I'm going to bump it up to a 7. I'll bump it up to a 7.
We can take a 7 to get the job done. Now you're making me want to like, dang, do I backpedal and change my score?
No, don't.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
No. All right. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share on all your social media. Until next time, live long and prosper, my loves.